Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Golden Nuggets podcast. My name is Nazreen and Ame, the main host for the show. Today in the studio, we are thrilled to welcome someone which we have shared a stage on our recent event, The Big Pivot. Shout out to Kai. And she's a voice that cuts through the noise with clarity, empathy, and refreshing dose of realness. We welcome Fariza Salleh. Welcome to the show.
Hello, hey guys. Thank you for that introduction. Wow.
No problem. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for inviting me.
No problem.
No problem.
Yeah, it's such an honor to be here. I'm like, palms are sweaty. You know, with every podcast recording, my palms are constantly sweaty. But
Okay.
thanks for inviting me.
Have you been as a guest on other podcasts?
Yes, I was a guest at Love, Sex and What the Fuck,
Okay.
run by Dee Ashburn. She is an aspiring sex and relationship coach, and I was her co-guest host for a couple of episodes, a couple of months
Nice.
back.
Okay.
That was my first time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, hopefully with me being a little bit more seasoned, I will perform better today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the only experience as a guest.
As a guest, yes. Thanks for specifying as a guest. Yeah.
Okay. So before we go on further, can you share with our audience who is Fariza Salleh?
Wow. That's such a big question. I think every year I feel like I'm reinventing myself.
Okay.
And I'm still at the midst of figuring out who I am. Fariza Salleh. I guess in a professional sense, I am a founder. I run or am building a marketing collective called
Okay.
Make Good Studio with my husband. I'm also a content creator. You might know me as Big Sis Energy on TikTok.
Okay.
And I also am a producer of a recently launched YouTube series called Side Notes.
Okay.
And that's something that I'm happy to share a little bit more of later. But I think I've always been a creator. I've always
Okay.
been a creative person. Very introverted. A lot of conversations in my mind. And trying to find creative outlets constantly to express them.
Okay. You mentioned creative person, right? Why does ChatGPT say that you were previously a hiring manager?
Yeah.
Because I was a hiring manager.
That's the most corporate thing, least creative thing to do, right?
Because that was probably about an article that was written about me
Okay.
when I talked about a National Day rally, I think 2 or 3 years ago. And I was talking about how as hiring managers, people who are approaching 40s, you kind of have to be cautious of the changing landscape, and you should be concerned about,
Right.
upgrading yourself and growing your network.
Right.
So I think they identified me as a hiring manager, and maybe that's why ChatGPT recognized it. But
Okay.
yeah, I was a hiring manager. I was working in corporate the last 10, 12 years.
Wow.
And then only recently left the corporate life to be a founder and creator.
Okay. So the reason why we actually interviewed Fariza during our event recently was because she was actually sharing her experience being laid off. Can you share a bit more? Because I think when you mentioned about now being a founder as compared to previously in corporate, right? It's because you were laid off, right?
Yes.
Can you share a bit more about that experience? Because I think like nowadays, more and more people are facing this issue. I think yesterday we just saw a big, is it media company?
Media.
Mediacorp.
Yeah, they just laid off like 93
90 plus.
staff.
5% of the staff.
Yeah, so that's really concerning when the big players are like that. It is really concerning to the
Yeah.
entire market. Yeah, can you share a bit about your experience on going through being laid off at some points of time in your life?
You want to talk about my first layoff or my second layoff?
Let's start with the first
Okay,
one.
okay. I've been laid off twice. Yeah, I've been laid off twice the last 5 years. And I think before we say anything, I have to say also that if you are in the corporate life, be mentally prepared for a layoff to happen. I'm not saying it will happen to you, but I'm saying that if it does, you have to be mentally prepared. You have to be financially prepared, and I'll tell you why. My first layoff. So this was in 2020, and we have agreed with the host that we're not going to name companies
Yep.
in this podcast, but feel free to go to my LinkedIn and figure out like who I'm referring to. But I was working in tech in 2020, and this was a time
as a hiring manager.
this was a mid-level, not hiring manager. Yeah.
Okay.
And I this was a purely remote work because it was still COVID times. I barely had a chance to work in the office itself, so everybody was remote. It was an international team. And what happened during the layoff was I was so happy having gotten that job, right? This was like, I think to date, the highest paying job that I have ever had. It was an amazing package. This was
Is it a big tech MNC?
It was the biggest financial tech company in the world.
Oh, okay.
As big as Elon Musk, hint. And and you know, I was like wow, I've done it. I'm here. I'm tech. I'm Melayu. I'm like, I've made it. You know, like, and I was working, and I was very, you know, working long hours, but I felt like the pay kind of matched it, and I was like, that's it. I can confidently say that I work in tech. What an honor it is. What a privilege, right? And then you start seeing the cracks. And I think as a first timer, someone who has never experienced a layoff before, you don't know that these are actually the signs. And I'll show you some of this. I'll tell you some of the signs that a layoff is impending. Allegedly. Yeah, allegedly. So you will see directors going on sabbaticals. They will disappear for a couple of weeks. You don't know why, but you realize that, a bunch of people in leadership are moving to other roles, moving overseas, or they are being asked to be on sabbatical. That's what happens, allegedly. And then maybe your boss might say, hey, make sure that you back up all of your work. Put it on a shared folder. Consolidate all of your stuff. That could be a sign. Another sign is a new CEO. Because with new leadership or a new, you know, like head of the company, they're always looking at cutting costs and looking at making the company more efficient, right? And that could lead to restructuring or reprioritization of departments, looking at cost centers versus revenue centers. And I didn't realize that these were signs. So when I asked my boss, I was like, hey, how come this boss is like, they're all going on sabbatical? She was like, I have no idea. And then I think it was like a morning, I received an invitation from my boss. And I was like, this is weird. Why do I have a one-on-one with her when I just had a one-on-one with her yesterday? But I took the call anyway. And she was there. She looked very serious. She was like, hey, how are you? And I was like, hey, what's up? Like, you know, things are good. And then suddenly HR and the VP of marketing joins the call. And I was like, hello. And then they're like, how are you? And I'm good. Like, what's going on? Am I getting a promotion? No, I didn't ask that, but I was like, something is happening. It's very tense. And they just ripped the Band-Aid. They were like, you know, your role is no longer required or needed in this organization. And as of today, you know, you are being let go. And then in the next 2 hours, you're not going to have access to any of your stuff. You won't have access to Slack. You won't have access to your chat folders. We thank you for your time, and any questions you have, please let us know. And so my boss was based in Australia. We had HR who was, I think, based in Australia too. And then, you know, it's like just shaking. And I remember this as a traumatic experience because I really do think that this is traumatic. If it's your first time going through a layoff, you are not allowed to process anything. It's very traumatic. And to this day, I still remember where I was, how I felt. I remember I was in my dining area. I was sitting down. I was shaking. I was alone. My husband was at work. And I was like, wow, I'm jobless now. And my first question was, is my team okay? And they were like, we're not allowed to tell you who else is impacted, but you know, we also don't encourage you to ask around. And we cannot give you an answer. And I was like, oh my God, like, and then the kicker was that HR said also, you are required by law not to announce that you have been laid off. You are only allowed to tell your lawyer and your immediate family members, people who are living in your household. So I was like, wait, I can't even announce on LinkedIn to get help, support. I can't even announce like how, you know, when Googlers are laid off, they have an Excel sheet of all the people who are laid off to find support, to find jobs and all that. I don't even have access to that. And I didn't know who else was laid off. And I was immediately cut off and I was like, at a loss. And I'm shaking right now because I really, really did think that it was a painful experience for me. And I know a lot of people say that layoffs are not personal, right? The decision is it's numbers. You're on a sheet. They give you points or whatever. I have no idea. But the impact is personal, right? Families they have to change their plans. People are being deported, have to leave the country. So it's a very, very horrible time for everyone. And seeing that over and over again, it really does something to you. So for me, when I was laid off, called my husband. My husband was like, "Why did the cats die?" He immediately was like, "Something happened to the cats." I was like, "No, I lost my job." And he was like, "Oh my God, that's worse." He was like, "I'm going to come home now." And I was like, yeah. And we, bless him, I mean, he's been such an amazing partner. And he was like, "You know what? Don't worry, you'll get back on your feet. Whatever you decide, we'll figure it out." And I had, because I think with tech, and I think the reason why people keep on going back to tech is because you have at that point, I had a sign-on bonus of $10,000 just for saying yes to this job role. You know, it was a crazy time where people were just throwing money at you.
Yeah,
and
of course.
the layoff also, you have a handsome package, right? That's gonna maybe
tie you through
for maybe 3-6 months. But still, it was something that was really terrible. And what happened after is that I quickly applied to all the jobs. Like to a junior role, senior role, I just applied. Really, that day itself, the moment I was locked out, I was like, "Oh my God, I have 2 months to figure this out. I have to get a job immediately." And I was able to get one because I think at that time there was still some demand. I think the job market was not as horrible as it is now.
Yes.
But also what happens after you are laid off, your first time, traumatic experience, you start building safety nets. You start building 2 safety nets. So the first is a psychological safety net and the second is a financial safety net.
Okay.
So a psychological safety net is, at least to me, it's knowing that, okay, what are my skill sets? It's really mentally preparing yourself for if this happens again, how do you mentally prepare? What are the skill sets that you have and what is the experience? What is the network that you have? How can you tap into this if ever you need to tap into it again? And then a financial safety net is, since 5 years ago, I've been squirreling money away. And at any point in time, I know that I have now not a 6-month runway, I have a 2-year runway. I am that scared of being laid off again.
Yeah.
But I know that if it happens, I will be fine. So that was my first layoff. And since then, I'm always looking out for signs in the next organization.
Yeah.
Okay, where are you going? You going on leave? What's happening? Who's the CEO? If there are changes, I'm mentally prepared. I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's not fall in love with this job. We are here to do our job. We are a number. Do the good work, but also don't forget that your time is temporary.
Yes.
Right? You can. I mean, do not, I think, be tied to a title, or do not think that a title is everything about you.
Yeah.
You have to constantly be building your personal brand. And that's what I've been doing the last couple of years. So, first layoff. Then...
Okay, before you talk about the second layoff, right? What would be a better way for them to let you go so that you don't feel as traumatic as you did?
So this is, I think, what happened in the second round. Because I would say the second layoff was a positive experience, as positive as it could be. I would say... I also have to say, my boss was also laid off.
Okay.
The one who was in Australia. But I didn't know because she had to take my call first and then she received the call, I think, the next day. I didn't speak to her for a week because I was like, I'm so angry with you. Like, how can you do this to me? I took it so personally. I was so young back then, right? I would have appreciated, I guess, but no, I mean, some support.
Okay.
I think allowing people to express themselves and find support and community however they want to. If they want to talk about it on social media, let them talk about it on social media.
Yeah.
I think it is cruel to, legally bind someone and prevent them from talking about it and getting support because, like, what do you expect us to do? And I felt so scared whenever, I think I let slip to a future employer, like, oh, I actually was laid off. I didn't quit my job. And I'm so scared that there were going to be spies, and there was going to be police at my door and like, hey, you actually broke this contract and we're going to take back all the money that we gave you. And I was so scared. It's just very silly things. You have to mentally allow people to, prepare for this and be kind and treat people as humans and not just treat them as like a cog in a wheel.
Yeah.
Allow people to reach out, have community, and allow the grassroots reach out to happen organically on social media if it has to.
But that's not the employer's job, right?
It's not, but I was not allowed to even do that.
Okay.
I wasn't allowed to even say anything on social media. I wasn't allowed to tell anyone that I was laid off. And I think that already cuts you off from anything, right?
Okay.
And I think what happened in the second round was that I was able to clarify with HR, okay, what can I say and what can I not say with regards to this layoff. And this layoff happened earlier this year.
Okay.
Yeah. And so going back to your question, I would say as long as you allow communities or people who are laid off to find each other and to talk about it online, and you don't put like a legal contract to it, I think that's probably the best thing that you can do. You know, the financial aspect of it, that is, it's good to have. But what people need the most actually is each other.
Support, yeah.
Yeah, support. And you're cut off, you know, you're cut off from work that you enjoy, meaningful, its purpose. So if you cut off from community, what else is there to do? What else is there left for your employee?
Okay.
So yeah.
Did she text you, your boss, from the
She
first
reached
one?
out. So so I think it happened on a Thursday, and then on Monday she reached out and she was like, "Hey, can I have a call?" And I was like, "Okay, sure. Let's have a chat." And
Were you angry?
no. Eventually, I calmed down and I had to tell myself this was not her doing. You know, she was just doing what she needed to do as a manager. And it's painful for both sides. You know, nobody is enjoying this process. It's so shitty for everyone.
Yeah.
But the fact that she told me, she was like, actually, I'm also impacted. I was like, man, I'm so sorry. And she said, you know what? Fuck them. And I was like, because I asked her, I was like, well, what about the work that we were doing? She was like, fuck work. She was like, they let you go. And why are you so worried about all this stuff? Like, they don't care. Like, you shouldn't care about the work either.
Wait, she's Aussie, right?
She's Aussie, yeah. I mean, that explains it, right? She's like, you know what? Take a break, take 2 months, go travel.
Yeah, you should.
This is
Did you?
time given back to you. I didn't. I applied for a job and then I got it. And then the moment my garden leave ended, I started work already. So scared of being jobless, right? So did not have a break at all. Yeah.
Wow, wasted.
I always tell her,
You
like,
should travel Bali, Thailand.
no time. I was just sad and depressed. I was like, why I felt really unlucky. I felt really down. I was like, no time to do this pray love
And
thing.
like, how did your second layoff go?
Okay, so my second layoff, because I think it's still fresh, and because there are still like friends, colleagues who are still working there, and I think also because it's quite public in a sense, I also want to be quite mindful of how I talk about it. My second layoff was a lot more humane, I have to say.
Okay.
And very ironically, when I joined the company last year, there was a small layoff also, and I wasn't involved in it, but I saw how they managed it, and I was like, okay, this is humane, because what happened, and I'm trying to be as loose as possible here, is you will get an email, and they will tell you whether your role has been impacted or not. You are required to be physically present at the office, where there will be hiring manager and HR. They will sit down with you face to face. They will tell you, this is what's happening, and then you can ask any questions you want to ask. They will give you a package. You can choose to, contest with it or not. I accepted it. There was, a box of tissue. I was crying. But there were also friends who were outside waiting for me. We all had to wait for our slot. We were like, oh my God, what time is your slot? Mine is 3 o'clock.
There's slots.
serious,
Slots, yeah.
Wow.
So they really took the time. They sat down with you. This is your contract. Read it. If you have any questions, you ask us. We are very sorry. And people were packing their bags and boxes and everything. And we were all like, hey, let's do a last hurrah. Let's hang out downstairs at like a restaurant. And all of us were laid off, including the ones who were not laid off. We had drinks, and it was like a 4 p.m. weird time, but it was like, you know what, whatever, we're jobless. Yeah. But I think the atmosphere, for me at least, it was what I needed. It was community. I was able to, strangely enough, like I felt positive. I felt light. I think because I learned to read the signs, right? So I kind of anticipated that it was happening. But when it happened, I was still shocked. And I think that was as positive as it could have happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you have your safety nets already, right?
And yes, because I had my safety nets too. Not only that, but also I had a community, and I had spent time building a personal brand on social media. And this was actually why I started my TikTok, Big Sis Energy.
Okay.
And this is all related actually, because I realized that I wanted to be independent of my job, but I also wanted to create. And if you Google me, you realize that all my social media accounts are actually private, except for TikTok. And it's very deliberate because I wanted to be able to present myself in a certain way. I wanted to, voice out any opinions that I had, but I also wanted to potentially work with brands. And that was intentional because when I was laid off, I actually posted a TikTok video that very same day after clarifying with HR if I could talk about it on social media, and they said yes. So I recorded a TikTok video. I, posted it that very same day that I was laid off. And then it went viral and it had like 300,000 views. And I was like, whoa, what is this? This is community. This is reaching out, and this is being honest, this is being raw, being unfiltered, and then community like will pay you back. And that was how I pivoted to entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
What were the skills that you think you have picked up along the way, aside from personal branding, that helped you in your entrepreneurship journey?
I think skill sets are, I feel like if you want to explore entrepreneurship, I think go with what you are already good at and go with what already comes easily for you. Because the path of least resistance is the one that I think that should help you, give you an idea of what you should explore as an entrepreneur. For example, if you are good at sales, you're good at selling something, then tap into that as an entrepreneur and be that face and be the one to kind of, market your stuff and be yourself in doing so. If for me, like it's really all about storytelling. It was about, telling stories with empathy and thought and care. And I wanted to lean into that in building my marketing collective, Make Good Studio, and also in starting Side Notes. Because entrepreneurship is hard, right? It requires skill sets that are beyond you, and you'll be learning things on the go. You are building the plane as you're flying it. But what you still need to tap into is your skill sets. And if you want to go into entrepreneurship, look at what you're already good at. And that requires looking inwards, but also I think asking people, hey, what do you think I'm good at? What if you've worked with me for 5 years? What do you think are my strengths and weaknesses? And then have an idea of like, okay, what you could possibly bring to the table. Yeah.
Okay. And have you had that kind of conversations with friends? And what do you think is your strength in terms of bringing it into your entrepreneurship journey?
Okay. I hate tooting my own horn, but okay. For me, it was like I reached out to mentors, I reached out to ex-bosses, and these were very, very kind women, ex-bosses who worked with me and who I really, really looked up to. And I spoke to ex-colleagues, and they were all like, you and your ideas, like you have so many ideas. Can you like please, like you're an ideas person. You've always been creative. Like whenever you present something, we listen to you, and Farizah, you have a great voice. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, shut up. So, I mean, these were things that I really kind of suspected about myself. I guess like when you're in your 30s, you kind of already know who you are. Nothing really comes as a surprise, to be honest. But I think it solidified who I thought I was. And I think it was a confirmation that, yeah, I'm heading towards the right direction. I'm a good storyteller. Maybe I'm not eloquent in that sense, but I think I'm able to articulate and process thoughts in a way that is easy to understand, in a way that I think is very engaging to the viewer. I think I am able to also process something and find insight in the so what to something. And I think my experience in working with, don't hate me, but the younger generation, you guys don't know how to read a brief. You guys don't know how to process a brief. Because I think with like AI and everything, right, we always want to go to the end result very, very quickly. We don't take the time to process a spark of an idea, an insight. And like, okay, this is a human truth. But
this is not a Gen Z thing or anything like that.
I think it's a younger generation thing.
Not.
Really?
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, what do you think it is?
It's actually the individual himself, because I think all of us is pretty much the same age.
Okay.
But I can tell you how each and every one of us process things is very different.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But don't you think that, okay, maybe it's a younger generation who, I don't know, is the impatience to produce something without really understanding the why. Why are we doing this? What are we answering? Who are we speaking to, right? And maybe for some of us who have some experience in advertising or marketing, maybe we're able to connect the dots a lot faster. But I think for the average person, it's a little challenging. And that's what I see with like talking to clients who have a great product, but they don't know how to market it. They don't know how to reach out to their audience. But for us, it's like, oh, you have this, you have this. We can find a match. We can find, human emotion, and we can build a piece of content to have that reaction that you want. So to me, like it comes naturally. Like I'm able to do that quite quickly.
Yeah.
So working
So
with my
so your frustration is mainly like, why aren't people thinking the same way as you, right?
yes.
So that's the thing. It's your gift.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it's
guess,
not
yeah.
something. I mean, it is something that other people do not have. That's why it's your gift. But at the same time, it's the same reason why each and every one of us, despite the age, will think or will look at things very differently.
But don't you think you can learn?
Of course,
Definitely.
and there's a reason why you are different from the rest, because you appreciate learning about that thing.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, a lot of people don't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. I yeah. I don't know. It's maybe but I think also it comes with experience. It comes with time,
of
right?
course,
and
yeah.
and what you lean towards. So yeah, I mean,
I'm curious, like for the second layoff, you didn't really send any resumes after that?
no,
At all?
refuse. Okay.
Why?
Okay, so to be honest, I did lah. Okay, because what also happens in between entrepreneurship is crash outs, monthly crash outs, where you're like, oh my god, okay, if this fails, what is my backup plan? Backup plan A, B, C, and then I will be like, oh. You're always on LinkedIn, you're commenting, you're trying to engage, right? And then sometimes they're like, oh, job post. Like, huh? Job post, relevant. Click, see what's. And it's like, oh, it'd been so nice if I
Send.
went back to 9 to 5, right? There was a period of time where I was like, okay, let's consider, contract work, maybe, 3 months contract. I tried for a month and I left because I was like, you know what? All this time that I'm spending fretting and fussing over another company, I rather invest that time to
Yourself.
myself,
Yeah.
even though I'm maybe not making as much money, but it's time I'll never get back.
Yep,
and
correct.
I have to keep reminding myself that, okay, you can spend a year in this organization, you're 9 to 5, but then you'll be doing the same thing you've been doing for 15 years.
Yes.
You spend this 1 year investing in yourself because you're not going to get this time back. You're getting older, you're almost 40, woman, so like it's time to just commit. So yeah.
Okay. How do you think, or perhaps do you regret being an entrepreneur now?
No. I'm. It's probably too early to say. Also, right? I'm just like 6-7 months into it. But I was just doing finances yesterday and like paying out, like salaries and stuff. I was like, we have doubled our revenue since April. Month on month, we have doubled it. And last month was the first time that we were making 5 figures.
Nice.
And it's a very modest 5 figure. It's like nothing compared to the salary that we were making in tech. But it was all ours, 100%. And we could decide what we wanted to do with it. It was purely from our blood, sweat, and tears. And I was like, yeah, I mean, the monthly crash outs will still happen. You will still worry about finances and money and cash flow, right? And you want to scale, but you don't have money, and more money needs to come in before you grow. But then you have to do this balancing act constantly. And I grew up with the mentality of, okay, you get an education, a standard Singapore
Yeah, of
education,
course.
go to college, get your master's, you will be, a director by the time you're 40, and you will live, a very standard, safe life.
Yep.
So that switch to entrepreneurship, honestly, was very scary for me. But I also was like, that's it. No more layoffs, no more losing control.
Yes, everything is within your control.
It is. And the mindset shift, the moment it clicked into me, right, that, you know what, I can do this and I need to really invest in myself. Everything is just noise. And we've been hyper-focused since, and just really grinding down, putting in the groundwork, really focusing on the craft. And
Nice. You mentioned about you doing this with your husband, right? So that means your husband is also doing this full time with you.
yes, he is. So,
Nice.
I mean, his story is also, actually our story, it all
Similar.
intertwines. Yeah,
Okay.
because
Never mind, we can invite him next time.
Oh yeah, you
Yes.
should invite him.
Oh, but I mean, he's creative, and we met at an advertising agency 15 years ago, and
okay.
we were creative partners back then. And we've always been like, you know what, we should always start a company. It's like, no one lah, like no money and that kind of thing, like do our own stuff. 10-15 years, let's see what happens. And then finally this layoff happened. And another thing that I actually want to share with you guys, I felt like this is part of my story. And since we're talking about entrepreneurship and the beginnings of it, so I was I think the first part I was talking about my layoff, right? My second layoff.
Yeah.
So this second layoff happened on a Thursday.
Okay.
And 2 days before, on a Tuesday, I found out that I have a late stage illness
Okay.
that has no cure. It would only get worse in the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
So much so that I will need medical assistance in my day-to-day. And it is something that is like devastating. Really, like my world came crashing down that Tuesday. So imagine knowing that news, right? It is a chronic illness. There is no cure. And then wanting to tell your boss, right? And mentally preparing for, medical procedures and whatnot. Then that Thursday you get laid off.
Oh man, same week.
Same week. Happened that very same week and nobody knew. And as I was, even though I was like happy, mentally prepared, I was like in my mind, I'm like, wait, I also have this illness. This is very new for me. And if I was crying in that room with HR, I was crying mainly because of my health, not so much about my, career prospects, because I think I'm quite settled there. So, and this I think plays a really big part in who I am, because it also greatly impacts my energy levels. I am severely lethargic, right? And I'm also introverted. Imagine you're already tired, right? And then you're introverted some more. You're spending energy constantly. So it's me requiring a couple of naps a couple of times a day. And that also partly is one of the reasons why I probably will not go back to 9 to 5, at least at this moment in time. And then, so in the midst of doing this, my husband was working, full time. He was head of marketing at a very big tech company. And he missed a medical appointment with me. And it was a Monday. He had a big meeting, 9 a.m. And my consultation with my specialist was at the same time. And I called him after that consultation, my doctor, and he had finished his meeting and he was like, how did everything go? And then I started crying at the hospital. I was at the staircase and I was like, oh, it was fine. But I started crying. And he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I wish I was there. I hate that I'm here in this meeting. I don't care about this meeting anymore. I want to be there for you. And I was like, oh, it's okay because, you have a 9 to 5. You have commitments. And we were really trying to figure out how we're going to manage job loss, health scare, and everything happening all at the same time. So, and it took him a couple of months. I think he saw what it was doing to me. I was, still trying to build up a business and I was still trying to think positively and trying to do something that was sustainable for me with my energy levels and my health. And finally, April, he was like, I think I'm done. I think I want to quit my job. And I was like, why? And then he was like, I want to be there with you. I want to build something with you. But at the same time, like, I don't want to make this company rich. I want to help us. Yeah. And I want to, be there for you. And I've already asked him for permission. I said, I might tell this story later on, with the guys. And he was like, no, please go ahead. And so, yeah, I've already gotten, permission to share the story. But he was deeply unhappy. And he was like, you know what? This is the best time. Let's both quit our jobs. Let's both commit to building something together. We have talked about it for 15 years. You and I met at an advertising agency. We were creative partners. We are so capable of building something amazing. So let's do it together. It's like, if you believe in it, I believe in it. And we work so well together. Like, I know a lot of people say, like, don't go into partnerships with wife or your family because you could fight, But if you work well together as colleagues and you already have that really great chemistry and you just get each other, then 100% do it. Jump into it, because I assure you that they are going to be the best partner, business partner, colleague, and also life partner for you. So that was April. Right? And since then, I mean, he has always been there. He has never missed a medical appointment. At the same time, we are also building this together. So it's been quite an amazing journey for us.
So it's something that you guys actually, how do I put this, appreciate, like, now, because you have time together to really, like, instead of really putting all the effort for a company or big corporate machine, you guys are doing it for each other. Yes,
and because we make such great partners, right? And the moment when I was starting, I was like, we in entrepreneurship, we have pivoted like 3 times the last 5 months. We've changed our minds, we've changed plans, but he's always aligned with me. He's always aligned. He's like, yeah, I get you. And then he's a builder. So if I have an idea, he builds on it, you know,
Okay.
and he understands my vision. He was like, what if we do this? What if we do that? And I'm like, 100%, let's go. And we're super supportive, and it just works so well that I kind of regret not starting a lot earlier. But I think we needed that push. We needed this health scare. We needed something major to push us and start something together. It was the perfect time. Everything had to happen in its own time. So
Okay. I mean, this healthcare, like, it's really something that cannot be cured.
no, it is a chronic illness. It is a chronic illness that affects hundreds and thousands of Singaporeans.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say it. I have chronic kidney disease.
Oh, okay.
And what happens is this is an autoimmune disease that affects my kidneys.
Yeah.
My kidneys are barely functioning at this point. And it is not because of lifestyle or diet.
Yep.
It was really just because of my immune system. And I didn't know, right? And it was only through a health check. And I think I really have to stress this. And I know this is kind of outside what we normally talk about here, but please go for your yearly health checkup. And I think this is something amongst the Malay community that we actually do not do a lot of.
Yeah.
We are very scared in finding out. But if you find out, then you can get help, right?
Yes.
And you have to intervene at the early stage. For me, unfortunately, it was at the end stage.
Okay.
So I'm 5 to 10 years away from requiring dialysis and kidney transplant. And so imagine having to do all this and like eating healthily, exercising, but still this happening to you. You're like, why me, right? But I think all of this is like, there is a reason. There's a reason why I'm going to entrepreneurship, why I am taking back control. I'm leaning into things that naturally come easy for me, that I'm talented in, and building something that I can be proud of.
Okay, yeah, because I think like a lot of people don't understand the magnitude of this. Dialysis itself, you need to do it 3 times a week, and 3 times a week means you definitely cannot work. I've never met, because I think maybe you don't know this about me. I'm a
You were a
nurse
nurse?
before,
Yeah.
So I've never met someone with kidney failure or kidney disease, right? Who have to go through dialysis. That can actually hold on to a job, because first of all, no job actually wants them.
Yeah.
Secondly, it's like they really need to be at least away for 4 to some even stay there for 8 hours.
Yes.
The whole day just for the dialysis, because sometimes the queue is long. Sometimes they need to make sure that the vital signs are stable before they are discharged on that day. So it really takes a lot of time. So I think like you understanding that you really need to take control and at least have built something so that you can live off it. I think that is really important.
Exactly. So I'm already kind of mentally prepared of like, okay, what are the logistics,
Yes.
financial stuff that is required,
Yes.
5 to 10 years time.
You may need to move. You need to move to a place where it's nearer to
I'm
a
already near a
center.
dialysis.
Okay.
I already checked all of that already.
Okay.
So we're like, I'm a planner, right?
Yeah.
I don't jump into things without really understanding what are the the pros and cons and being 2-3 steps ahead. So I'm ready for it to happen. I am doing the best I can to manage with medication and all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is an inevitable thing that is in the near future for me.
Yeah. Okay. Like another thing that I believe it really do to you is that it drives you to move faster.
Yeah.
Which a lot of business owners or even startup founders, they are actually not aware that you need to move fast. Because they think like they have all the time in the world, but sometimes you just don't.
Yeah, I think for me, actually, I would actually disagree with that.
Okay.
Entrepreneurship allows me to do things at my own time, and I think this whole mentality that things need to be fast, right? And you need to kind of strike while the iron is hot. Yes, it is true, but also I have enjoyed kind of setting my own pace. Because I am low energy, because I am a 2-man team. We've grown to 5 people, but they work remotely. And I'm always tired, but my brain works, right? So I have to take these short bursts of energy to do whatever I can and then take rest and then, try again in a couple of hours. So I think in entrepreneurship, you don't follow people that, or people whose lives maybe don't align with yours. I think that's something that I said on TikTok before. You're not going to see me waking up at 5 a.m. doing push-ups and downing a smoothie and then,
Like
taking a
Ashton
call
Hall,
at 7 a.m. Yeah, that's not the entrepreneurship that I aspire to be. I want it to be sustainable. I want it to be, for women especially. I think women entrepreneurship, it's a little bit different. It maybe not so testosterone driven, There are different ways of being an entrepreneur. And I think for us, it's really finding our own pace, and figuring out and owning that 100%.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because when I started into entrepreneurship, it's all about designing your lifestyle and then go backwards and reverse psychology to how you want to create, how you want to be spending your time with your loved ones.
Yes.
Because that is the time that you cannot get back.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I want to be with my kids, I want to be with my wife, and all these things is calculated because you don't want to be told to do this and that, and that's what most 95 are actually experiencing.
Yeah.
So, I totally get it. And what's next for your journey so far?
I mean, it's a lot of things, right? I think at the beginning I've said that I am growing a marketing collective. So we do have clients where we help them with their social media strategy all the way to production. We have a very modest list of clienteles. I'm also a content creator, so I work with brands directly as a creator on TikTok. And the brands that I work with, I think one of my favorite brands is NTUC, because I think they have this amazing sort of creator network where they support content creators, and they 100% kind of allow you to create content that aligns with who you are. And they don't really, nitpick on like the thing, what the final product is. So they're very, very supportive in that sense. I like working with brands that have like a more thoughtful approach to marketing and advertising. And then growing Side Notes, which is the new YouTube channel that we just launched a couple of weeks back. I think at this point of recording, we are at, 3 episodes, but hopefully, we hope to release an episode every week. We cover crime, social issues and cultural issues. So anything that is that has taken place in Asia over the last, 100 years, we want to retell them in a way that is thoughtful and empathetic. If it's crime, we make sure that we honor the victim. We do it in a way that is not lighthearted or comical. I think we do it in a very responsible way. When it comes to culture or social issues, we always try to explain the why, the what. We contextualize it for you in a way that is hopefully engaging. And in building this content series, we want to invite brands to work with us, to work and build, native advertising that is that aligns with the storytelling that we're trying to create here. I think we hope to build a community. I mean, I'm trying not to reveal too much because I really don't know how successful we'll be in a year's time, right? But I think that is the direction that we want to head towards.
Okay. So Side Notes, 3 episodes at the moment.
Yeah.
Can you share with us the 3 episodes, what were you talking about? Because just now I saw one of it is talking about Labubu.
Yeah, okay. So
that's your latest episode, right?
Yes. So the first episode is the disappearance of Felicia Teo. Felicia was a LaSalle student who disappeared, I think, in the early 2000s. And it was only revealed, I think, in 2020, what happened to her and how she passed away and who might have been behind her disappearance and death. The second one was about this bench in Shanghai, in China, that is a spiky bench. So if you sit down and you sit for too long, there are spikes that are supposed to come out to stop you from sitting.
Okay.
So to stop the spikes, you have to pay money. Right?
Oh, wow.
And this is a story that is being regurgitated in mainstream media. It is actually a myth that is perpetuated by Western media, and it is a way to kind of the stereotypes of China. Yeah. That China is, backwards, China is archaic and cruel, and the government is trying to be involved in every single aspect of your life, including sitting on a bench. You have to pay money so that you don't get spikes on your butt. It's a whole story. It's a roller coaster ride, and I really enjoyed doing that. The third one is about labubus and why are people crazy about labubus, right? And we try to go the psychology.
Obsessive, even my son.
No, but there's blind boxes, right? That's how they function. So you buy something, you don't know what you're getting. Yeah. But if you want that, but if you don't get it, you will buy something else. So you actually get repeat purchases from one customer, and that's how Labubu or PopMart is now a $40 billion industry. It has earned much more than Mattel, Hasbro, and
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah, it's making so much money the last couple of years only because of Labubu. And so we go into the psychology of why humans would queue up, early morning to buy the perfect Labubu. And then we do a throwback to, remember the Hello Kitty craze that I was a part of?
Oh, really? Okay.
So in the 90s, I don't know if you guys remember, but Hello Kitty McDonald's, they sold like Hello Kitties in pairs.
Yeah.
So my mother really wanted the one in baju kurung. And it was like 2 Hello Kitty wearing baju kurung, very cute. So I think like my sister or her, like they went to queue up, they went to buy, and then we were so happy. They were like, oh my God, so cute, we want to buy some more. So people really kind of got crazy. And we tried to find, similarities between those types of hype and Labubu. But the thing that is different about it is the blind boxes, the fact that people keep coming back because they don't know what they're going to get. And that's how you get repeated purchases. And we go into scarcity marketing. We talk about how you're only allowed to buy 3 at a time. They're only limited release. It builds up that hype. So we go into the psychology of marketing and why people are bought into this whole craze. And I don't know, do you guys have a Labubu?
I don't.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not sure if my wife has.
My wife has.
I'm
I
not
didn't
too
understand
sure,
it, yeah. But now I understand why people would go
But
crazy.
I mean, I understand why people go crazy because it's kind of unique, right? It's like kind of one to one, right?
One-to-one, as
No,
in what?
one of one. That means like you tend to get a different type of Labubu every time. That is something you cannot control.
I actually don't know, but I know that the chances are 1 in 72 for like the rare Labubus.
Yeah.
And 1 in 72 is like that's a chance you're willing to take. You're willing to buy 3 to increase your chances a bit more. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean I get it because like ultimately people have different idea of what's beautiful, right? So to them this particular one could be beautiful. So I'm willing to take the chance to actually see whether I get the one that I really want or not.
I think besides the product itself, it's also a very social thing. The unboxing, it's a very community thing that people actually, they record their unboxing and then they will share it, they will share on social media. So there is a whole community on Reddit, on TikTok, like people are talking about their favorite Labubus. So it's not just a thing, it has
But do you
blown up
think-
so much more though.
Yeah, so do you think the reason why it blown up is because they would have paid a few influencers at the start, at the beginning to really do the unboxing so that people understand the entire experience and then they want to try it for themselves?
I think it has taken on a life of its own. Like maybe that was the initial plan, with like Lisa from Blackpink.
Yeah.
But I think after that, it just...
Yeah, of course. It's the same thing as Crocs, right?
Crocs.
Because Crocs was so out of fashion. And then suddenly...
I use Crocs in...
I also use Crocs. But
I was like one of the first few buyers.
yeah, I use Crocs because of my job previously. But anyway, like the reason why it start to like really explode is because there was one video that I think Lady Gaga was seen using Crocs and hers is like kind of unique. And that's the reason why it kind of like...
It's a cool factor, right?
Yeah.
It's a sign off that says, hey, Crocs are cool now.
Yes,
so like,
correct.
come
And
and
then
join.
and then more people are starting to buy Crocs and then like, those, I forgot what they call it. The thing that-
Gibbets.
all the
Gibbets.
Gibbets, right? People start to collect and also start to buy more even though their Crocs cannot fit all those.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a social thing. It's wanting to belong. It's not just owning something, but you want people to see that you own it. It's a very social thing. And I think marketing really taps into your human emotions.
Okay.
And that's why I find it really, really fascinating to go really deep into these
So
stories.
so that's the thing. Like now we are talking about business, right?
Okay.
Both of our companies are doing marketing, right? And we are doing B2B. How can we use something similar in terms of this for our B2B client acquisition?
I think always find that human insight to tap into. I think what we always forget is that even with businesses, there are people behind that business, and you still want to kind of spark a human emotion behind it. So I think figure out what is that feeling that you want when people watch your piece of content or listen to whatever that you're producing, and then have that as an end product in mind. Because if you're just and I assume, I don't know, but B2B, it's a little bit, we assume that it's a little bit drier because it's a bit more corporate because you're working with businesses.
Yeah.
But I think you always try and set yourself apart by incorporating a bit of humanness and emotion to it. Like you want people to be surprised, you want people to be happy, excited, curious. Tap into those human emotions because it's not enough to just do like, a white paper article anymore. Like what is that takeaway? What can people do upon learning about this piece of thing that you are sharing, it's not enough to just produce something for the sake of producing it. Like there needs to be an action, there needs to be a human emotion, and you need to consistently do that to build that relationship with your business or your partners.
Okay. But what is that one thing that can actually blow up a B2B marketing to acquire another client?
I don't know, man. I don't know. This is way out of my wheelhouse. Like, I would need to, I guess, understand what is the business. Like, I think
Say your business.
no, but what's your B2B? You need to tell me what it is first, ma.
No, I mean like I mentioned just now, we are doing marketing, we are doing advertising. It's pretty much aligned. So if now we are talking about your business, right? So your business, which is aligned to ours, how would you do that one thing that can actually blow up and also acquire customers easily?
That is a hard question, and I am.
Yeah.
I cannot give you
I
an
don't have the
answer.
answer also. That's the
Yeah.
reason why I'm asking you.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I think I'm the kind of person who I need to process something. I need to understand everything from all angles before I really figure out that opportunity. And I think it differs with every client. Yeah, it has to differ with every client.
Okay, that's interesting. That is also an issue in business, because that means that you are restricting yourself to scalability.
Elaborate.
Okay, so one thing about business or how to exit a big business is, or how to exit a business is basically investors want to see whether this business is scalable. This business can go from, let's say, 1 million to 10 million in the next 1 year, 2 years, or even 10 million to 100 million, right?
Yeah.
The only way to do it is through scaling, right? But if we are at the mindset of we need to identify each client, what are their exact needs before we can actually pitch to them something that works for them, for their clients. This is something not scalable, because this is where you need to process the entire process of understanding them, figuring out how their marketing angle will go. This is unique because it's a unique client.
Yes.
Right?
And I think, or maybe that's my approach. I think in working with different clients, there needs to be a unique approach for every client.
Yeah.
I don't think the one
Which we
size
agree, which we
fits
agree.
all. Yeah. And I think, look, we're working with small agencies. We're not looking at multi-billion-dollar agencies that can tap into resources online in other markets and a whole pool of like marketing experts. It's me and my husband, right? And we also have to decide what kind of solutions we can offer that is scalable for us and is sustainable for us. And yeah, I think that is the struggle, honestly, at this point, where we want to work with bigger clients. We have, an amazing product, I think, at least with Side Notes. But marketing, big companies might be looking at bigger agencies to work with because they already have that symbiotic relationship, right? They might not be looking at, independent agencies like ours. So it's beyond Side Notes. I also have to build my personal branding. I also have to put myself out there on LinkedIn, on TikTok. I have to show multi-facets of myself, not just as a creative, but as an entrepreneur, as a Malay Muslim woman. I think all of these sides of me, they have to be shown out there in order for someone to decide, hey, okay, I think I'm going to go with her. So it's a constant, push in trying to market yourself and your business at the same time.
I think this episode has been very interesting because you have shared about your layoff and also how you are right now starting out as an entrepreneur, which a lot of people, right now they may be forced into it, but they don't know how to start. But for you, you have already figured out in your past how many months that you are an entrepreneur now, full time.
It's February. Seven.
7 months. Yeah, you figured out like, okay, this is how I'm going to grow my business. I think it's really beneficial for a lot of our listeners. For
I
sure.
hope so. And I 100% like reach out to me if you have any questions. I mean, you want to have a chat, figure out what it's like to be an entrepreneur. Do 50-50, maybe start something small. Yeah, have a chat. I'm always available. LinkedIn, TikTok. Yeah.
First question is coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Okay. In one word, describe the future of work in the post-pandemic world.
Flexible.
Nice.
Okay. Real struggle or just part of the job, creator burnout?
It's a struggle.
Okay. Okay, you don't do editing, so maybe I skip this question. This one also introvert or extrovert, we know already. Something light. Kaya toast or avocado toast?
Kaya, because I'm not allowed to eat avocados because high potassium. I have a lot of like dietary limitations.
Okay.
Okay. Last one. What's one one guilty pleasure reality TV show that you currently watch?
Oh, I have so many. Hey, I really believe in reality TV, you know.
Really?
I think it's so interesting to understand how other people work. Right now,
I just finished watching Building the Band, but yeah, yours.
love Building the Band. Love is Blind UK.
I was
Yes.
about to say that. Love is blind.
just finished. Yeah, I watch all of the series. I watch
Dubai.
everything. I watch all the reality TV.
But the number one right now that's top of your mind.
Love is Blind, UK, the first season.
Yeah, I
thought
know, right?
so
Oh,
refreshing.
love it. Yeah.
So refreshing. Yeah. And then I always imagine like, wow, if it was my husband on the other side, would I miss him or like propose in the first, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's fun. It's fun to think about.
Yeah, I cried a lot watching that.
Serious?
Hey, but people were asking, do you think it would work in Singapore? I don't think so.
Yeah, it won't.
Yeah, it
No.
won't.
I can't see in Singapore.
Hey,
People
you
are
doing
less
what,
expressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are less expressive here.
Yeah. I think so too. Tell me your name, Fariza. No, sorry, I don't dip Malays. Yeah, who knows?
Straightforward.
But yeah.
Yeah, but Building the Band is awesome.
Love, yeah. I no spoilers, but yes, I really enjoyed. I think it's a
It's a very interesting concept because I think they mix the Love is Blind.
yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right.
Okay, last question.
Ami, take it away.
And I think this is quite apt, especially for your situation, because I think you have not gone through this yet. If today you are left with nothing, you have $0, $88 left in your bank account, nothing else, no severance package, nothing. How would you rebuild back your life?
No safety net in financially, except for
Yes.
$88.
Can sell house?
By all means.
Yeah, I would
It's a house. Okay, straight away.
Okay.
because I need more than 88 for a safety net. I think it's like, what other options can I sell my watches?
Okay.
I will sell things first. I would build a bigger safety net before I decide on my next move.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
$88 is not realistic.
Makan, at least.
I will starve myself first.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
I would have that financial safety net because without money, there's not much you can do, I'll be honest. And I think that also gives you that mental stability and confidence
Yeah.
to get started. So I would sell my house.
Okay.
Okay, interesting.
yeah.
We've never had the answer
I've
before.
never had the answer.
Yeah, real estate agents, come talk to me.
Cool. So where can people find you, Fariza?
You can find me on LinkedIn under Fariza Salleh. You can find me on TikTok under Big Sis Energy. Come and follow me on Side Notes as well. We are on YouTube. And then for everything else is private, so don't try to add me. I will not add you back. Thank you very much. Yeah.
All right, I think today is a very fruitful and valuable episode with
Yes.
Fariza Salleh, and something that people can summarize. The whole episode is about safety nets. Okay, so you guys, it's up to you if you want to create your own safety net, because that's what Fariza did.
Yeah.
And I hope this can relate to you guys. And if you want to reach out to her, please feel free to add or follow her on the socials. And with that, we wrap up today's show. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care and goodbye.